Hey, good evening. It's Wednesday, May 17th, and welcome to Everyday Talk 24/7. Really great to have you along tonight. Remember, this Friday's Q&A Friday. Got some really great questions, but if you have some, send them in. And again, really great to have you along. We're going to continue talking about the empty nest. Tonight we're talking about the beauty of the empty nest and the way that our culture has moved towards a child-centered base. The empty nest with parents, children gone. Many have lost focus, don't have a sense of purpose. Well, there's a reason for that. We're going to look at that tonight because the empty nest can be, should be a beautiful thing. Biblically, parents are the cornerstone of the home and the culture. Parents, whether it's a single parent or two parents in the home, they're the cornerstone of the family. And the family is the building block of our culture, not anything else. This is important to understand if we're going to understand why the empty nest thing has become a problem for so many folks. Parents are not something to discard, but in our culture, and sadly, they often are discarded. The child-centered culture views parents as caretakers to enable kids to function in society, and then parents fade off into the sunset. Quite the reverse is true. The role of the parent is fundamental, a huge building block to our culture. This is the biblical model, not the evolutionary model. This is the biblical model. Children leave home to become parents, not to become independent free agents. Whatever skill set or calling that is pursued, and the whole plethora of things that can be done, parenting is to be part of that process, not to be discarded. This is the significance of Genesis 2:24, which we looked at last night, and the creation mandate. Remember, Genesis 2:24 says, "For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh." And then the creation mandate in Genesis 1:28, God blessed them, Adam and Eve, and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it." That's the role of parents. And it's built into each one of us, whether we like it or not, whether our culture says it or not. God designed people to be parents. This does not mean that it's wrong to be unmarried or to be a single parent. What it's saying is, what it's acknowledging is that the capacity to be a parent is built into each one of us. Does not necessarily mean we'll be a good parent. That capacity could be lost or not achieved, but it's there in each one of us. God made us that way, whether we get married or not. That's a cornerstone, core fact that evolutionary thinking has tried to rob us of that. So your parent's job, no matter what else the child may become or do, the parent's job is to raise children who can become parents, good parents. And this beautiful value of parents must not be lost. But the enemy is attacking this. Why does the enemy want to devalue and belittle the role of parents? Well, before issues such as sex without lasting commitment, homosexuality, gender identity, etc., can be accepted in our society, the role of the parent as the building block of culture and society has to be eliminated and destroyed. And it functionally is in our culture. Once the parents are out of the way as the building block, then the stage is set for moving the nexus of sexual activity outside of the home and into the culture at large. And that's what we have today. People who think that sex is something that belongs exclusively in marriage, in the home, people who think that way, people like me, are considered awful, bigots, not progressive, who are restricting human growth and growth potential. That's what's happened. This statement is considered to be a weird one today, but it's the biblical truth. Thus, when parents are devalued, the empty nest is also devalued and suffers as a result of the shift of thinking. If the value of parents is primarily connected to being caregivers, chauffeurs, and financial enablers to support the monolithic educational cultural complex that's happening around us, then if that's the primary role, then the empty nest now is a wasteland, because parents have no more value because they can't support children in a child-centered society being what children want to be. And sadly, the empty nest syndrome, not exclusively, but for many, it's become entrenched in our culture. This replaces the biblical role of parents becoming grandparents, and who then become resources to build the church from the inside, with a huge role preparing and repairing the next generation. This is what makes for effective evangelism outside the family, is strong families who are committed to growth from the inside. Paul reminds Timothy of this in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5. I recall, Paul speaking to Timothy, I recall your sincere faith that first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and now, I am convinced, is in you. Single parents, a grandmother and a mother, getting the job done of being parents who are being faithful to God and building a huge resource. Psalm 78 says, just amplifies this, we will not hide these truths from our children, but tell a future generation the praiseworthy acts of the Lord, of his wondrous works that he's performed. The goal is to see a future generation of children yet unborn who might know the wonder of God. They are the ones who are to rise and tell their children, so that they might put their confidence in God and not forget God's works to keep his command. This is the true opportunity to see the beauty of the empty nest, of what parents becoming grandparents, not an empty nest, but become places of vast resources to build our church and our culture. And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. But I wanted to highlight tonight, the empty nest is really a thing of beauty, that our culture, because of its child-centered nature and its humanistic nature, has robbed us of that beautiful place and that beautiful resource. The empty nest, it really is a place of beauty. And we'll keep talking about that. Thanks so much for being here tonight, and Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Thank you so much for watching. It is such a huge encouragement.